Hi, Gerhard Bloom, once again looking at the tyranny and the delusions of the social justice movement. So I would like to look at the Judeo-Christian tradition as opposed to this woke ideology, fascism, communism, and utopian dreaming. This might be a bit rambling. If so, I'll just delete the damn thing and you'll never find out about it. At any rate, the United States Constitution, it's grounded in Judeo-Christian principles, most especially individual rights, the notion of individual rights. The founders of the United States of America had no pretensions that they were going to create a utopia. No, they realized that we live in a fallen world. Yes, that's religious language, a fallen world, and human beings are flawed by nature. Yes, we have a moral duty to realize the better angels of our nature, but there's a perpetual war within ourselves to realize that better nature. The American Revolution was not, strictly speaking, a revolution at all. The founding fathers were fighting for the rights that the British subjects held. They wanted equal treatment under the law from the British Crown. And when the revolution succeeded, they inherited the traditions largely, and they polished them up, and yep, they added some important guarantees, but inherited a great deal of cultural legacies, like imported the cultural legacies that Britain had gained over hundreds of years. Right? I mentioned this before. Institutions aren't the brick and mortar. They're the embedded idea and the consolidation over hundreds of years. So due process under law, individual rights, that sort of thing, right? That is important. And they didn't have a one-party state with, unlimited power. Socialists, time and time again, Soviet Union wasn't really existing socialism, or China, particularly under Mao, or Cambodia under Pol Pot. No, they weren't truly socialist, because socialism is supposed to be an absolute utopia. We don't have the power to bring heaven to earth. This is utopian dreaming, neglecting that we are failed creatures. Some more failed than others, most certainly. But none of us is divine. We have a duty to act in the image of Christ, the imitatio Christi, right? Emulate Christ. But nobody is perfect. Solzhenitsyn, the line of good and evil runs through all of us. So yes, the founding fathers, the separation of powers, because they knew power in the hands of a single entity will be an unmitigated disaster. So no power to bring heaven to earth, but we have the power to bring hell to earth. Done so time and time again. And liberals, and I have the liberal tradition, not leftist nonsense. Free speech, yes, individual rights. They think armchair theorizing. You can gaze at the world and armchair theorize, and you can come up with the notions of respect for the dignity of life and individual rights and the rule of law, except you can't. These moral intuitions from liberals, they arise and seem self-evident to them because they grew up in countries that have been shaped for hundreds of years by Judeo-Christian values. Hitler made observations of the world. Stalin, Mao, Pol Pot, they all drew very different conclusions. They had absolutely no regard for individual rights, collective rights, right? And disastrous. Millions of people killed by their own governments in peacetime. And these utopian dreamers. And you don't have to believe in the Judeo-Christian tradition. Science tells you that people have a nature. Yes, the human animal has a nature, human nature. I forget the title of the book now. It was an anthropologist who collected well over 100 human universals: rape, murder, familial love, right? Favoring your family over a stranger. Smiling, laughing, crying, language, human universals. But deluded leftists think, oh no, you can recreate man, human beings, and you can shape them and mold them, and human nature, oh, it's a fiction, it's a fiction. Steven Pinker, The Blank Slate, talks about the disastrous consequences of that particular ideology. It is false. Human beings have a nature. And like I say, no, we're not born evil. If so, morality would be impossible. And no, we're not born good. That's why children have to be morally instructed and guided throughout their lives. And yes, evolutionary biologists and psychologists have demonstrated there's a suite of dispositions towards empathy, towards fairness, towards goodness. The problem with that is it's insufficiently strong to mold a society. Children need to be trained, because tribalism, all too frequently a human instinct. Remember, I said moments ago about our proclivity to favor our family over strangers. And this is why you have in countries around the world, Africa is an acute example of this, tribalistic, nepotism and tribalistic violence, right? In Western European societies, you have standards of merit. I can't hire, and unless it's my own company, I can't hire, if I'm working, an employee of the government and I'm seeking to hire somebody, I can't favor my cousin over the stranger, right? If so, lawsuit, right? It's unfair, it's biased, and this leads to, meritocratic standards. Of course, leftists don't want that, right? They want you to favor some particular tribe. In this case, the allegedly oppressed, blacks or Hispanics, whatever, but not Asians, right? Because they're white adjacent, right? You can't favor them. You can discriminate against them because they're so successful. Poisonous nonsense. At any rate, I've made this argument to several friends of mine. Atheism does not scale. Yep, Sam Harris, Richard Dawkins, Christopher Hitchens, by all accounts, decent, moral human beings. But you can't go from tens to hundreds to thousands to 10,000s to millions of people. Atheism leads to nihilism, like these Antifa rats, just out to destroy and beat up people. They're not anti-fascists, they're fascists, nihilistic fascists. Leftists, this woke ideology, this is a religion replacing religion, right? Atheism doesn't scale. The Judeo-Christian worldview, this has brought peace, stability, wealth. Yeah, you tread in very dangerous territories when you try to scale atheism. It does not work. Anyway, thank you so much for your time and attention. If you liked the video, drop a thumbs up. And please do check out my book, Deconstructing Social Justice. It's available on Amazon. Not important because I wrote it. I wrote it because the issues could not be more important. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.